Hello there, I'm MountPain27, and this is Dean of Doom, the show where we give grades to classic and contemporary Doom wads. Why? Because ranking things is fun. Today's episode will be dedicated to Doom 2, id Software's 1994 follow-up to one of the most groundbreaking video games of all time. I only missed it by about a week, but happy belated birthday, Doom 2. Also, confession time. I first played Doom 2 in 2017, through DOSBox on Steam, keyboard only, on Hurt Me Plenty. Since then, I've been on something of a Doom pilgrimage, learning about the community, playing a plethora of fan-made wads, and using my freaking mouse. What I'm trying to say is that I don't have as long of a history with this game as probably most of my audience, but I've spent a lot of time with Doom 2, it's a huge part of my life now, and this series wouldn't exist if I didn't love it to death. So how does the legendary work of Petersen, Romero, McGee, Hall, and Green hold up today? Let's find out. Before we dive in, here's how the show works. We give each level in the WAD 2 grades, one for quality and one for difficulty. We grade quality from A to F, and difficulty from X to E. X for extreme, E for easy, and A through D in between. A grade A level is fun, memorable, visually distinctive, creative, and a fair challenge. Lower grades indicate the level lacks some or all of these qualities. Bear in mind that I'm not a Doom god, and these reviews reflect only my opinions, so our definitions of difficulty and great map design will surely differ. Disagreeing is part of the fun, after all. At the end of the day, this show is really about spreading the joy of Doom, so let's do so. For the new viewers in the audience, here are the rules. 1. We play on ultraviolence. 2. We play each level from a pistol start. 3. In order to review the WAD, I must have played it at least twice. 4. Saves are allowed, but discouraged. And 5. I go for 100% kills in all levels, making exceptions in cases where it's just not worth it. I play on Z-Doom, with compatibility settings on strict. Now, to the WAD. Map 1. Entryway. You know, I had a brilliant and unique review for Entryway, but I wrote it down on a napkin, and it went through the wash with my jeans last night. Too bad I can't remember what it said. It was super original, and didn't even use the word iconic once. For real though, Entryway is short, modest, and fun. I like to play it chainsaw only to spice things up, and even then it doesn't take more than 2 minutes to knock out. Grade B-, difficulty E. Map 2, Underhalls. Underhalls is one of the friendliest levels around. The Doom 1 monsters have no answer for your super shotgun, and really like hanging out by explosive barrels. Underhalls also has the most laid-back MIDI in the WAD, the Healer Stalks. It's pretty out of place, but it makes me feel like I'm taking a break, so I like it. I've played through this level more than Entryway because of the master levels. Half of those maps are level 1 replacements, and Underhalls is a great palate cleanser, if you know what I mean. If you find you're having too easy a time with Underhalls, try playing it pacifist. Grade B-, difficulty E. Map 3. The Gauntlet. Ugh, it's definitely got a lot to do with Countdown to Death playing in the background, but I've never liked the Gauntlet. If you keep your head and don't let too many chain gunners zero in on you, there's virtually nothing lethal in the Gauntlet, especially if you strafe run into this little treasure nook, which I'll bet was put there for deathmatching purposes. I'm not really keen on the aesthetics of the Gauntlet. It's very monochrome, with practically nothing going on lighting-wise. Talking about the visuals of maps like the Gauntlet can be hard, because playing through them is more of a routine than an experience for me at this point. The Gauntlet is about as memorable as doing the dishes. The Gauntlet. Grade D, difficulty E. Map 4, The Focus. Playing this map single segment ruins the beginning, where you're supposed to be pinned down by a dangerous entourage of hit scanners with only a pistol to defend yourself. If you're carrying an arsenal from previous levels, you can just haha super shotgun go boom them, and that's pretty much as hard as this level gets. Designer American McGee plays around a bit more with lighting in this one, as in there's a switch to turn the lights on in this hallway, and another one here that inexplicably turns them back off. The highest compliment I can give The Focus is that it feels a lot like an early Scythe map. Looking at his work in Doom 2 and E4M1, it seems as if American McGee patented an early formula for speed maps. Grade C-, difficulty D-. Map 5, The Waste Tunnels. More like the tunnels. I think Baron's Den from TNT Evolution took inspiration from this map. It's dark, non-linear, sluggish, and brown. In fact, I'm sure of it. They got the same music, which, let's just say I prefer Doom 1's music to Doom 2's. Doom 2's music tends to be played softer and at a slower tempo than a lot of Doom 1's music. In levels such as the Courtyard, the Chasm, and Monster Condo, that can do wonders for the level's atmosphere. But in maps like this, the Gauntlet, Nirvana, the Factory, Downtown, Tenements, and Bloodfalls, I feel a palpable sag in the energy compared to what Waltz of the Demons, or even Demons on the Prey, do for their respective slower-paced Doom 1 levels. Doom 2 music also famously abuses the standard 12-bar blues progression even more than its predecessor, most prominently in tracks like Countdown to Death, Between Levels, Intermission, This, Adrian's Asleep, and even The Sacred Cow, Sean's Got the Shotgun. Bobby Prince isn't even trying to hide it. He adds virtually nothing but harmony to each replay of the main theme, often padding out songs unnecessarily. Seriously, does In the Dark really need to be 7 minutes long? Usually my feeling is that a great song can save a bad level, more often than a bad level can destroy a great song. So let me put it this way. Doom 2's soundtrack doesn't save very many levels. Okay, digression over. So yeah, the waste tunnels. Grade D-, difficulty D. Map 6, the Crusher. One of the quintessential examples of the Doom mapping principle that a memorable structure doesn't have to serve a rational purpose. What's the point of the Crusher? Who cares? The real question is how this supposedly big-brained spider demon got itself stuck in there. The Crusher is the most substantive level in Doom 2 so far and introduces the Revenant right from the start, which can be a bother for new players. You can find 2 megaspheres in the Crusher, one here, and one inside possibly the most level-breaking secret in Doom 2. I can never make this stupid jump in one try, just give me a second. There. With the Megasphere, Backpack, Rocket Launcher, and Backup Mega Armor, you can breeze your way through the rest. I like the Crusher. Grade B, difficulty D. Map 7. Dead simple. The title itself pretty much says it all. Kill the Mancubi, kill the Arachnotrons, and you're done. This map is famous for debuting these 2 monsters and for its special scripting that lowers selected sectors when all the Mancubi in the map die, and raises others when you kill all the Arachnotrons. The blur spheres are actively detrimental. If I accidentally pick one up, I just grab them all and wait for it to expire. As a trope, I think Dead Simple is fun, if done to death. But as a map, there's hardly anything special about it. Grade C, difficulty D. Map 8, Tricks and Traps. I have a love-hate relationship with this map. It's one of the most creative and devilish levels in commercial Doom, a logic puzzle with guns and demons that cleverly exploits the player's instincts. This is another one you really have to play from pistol start to get the full effect. If you have rockets left over from Dead Simple, you'll have no reason to spring this pinky trap before safely killing them. You'll get one of each weapon except the SSG in this map, including your first BFG. Take advantage of it. Something something Baron, something something Cyber Demon, blah blah blah, don't shoot, let them infight, you get the point. Before I caught the completionist bug, I liked Tricks and Traps a lot more because it could skip some of the annoying optional parts like this dumb hallway with the Baron and the chainsaw, and this ridiculous room with 4 pain elementals. If the Lost Souls didn't have such a hard time getting into these hidey holes with a chain gun and bullets, this section would be unbearable. Tricks and Traps is one of the classics, one of Sandy Petersen's most roguish and memorable maps. Grade B+, difficulty C. Map 9, The Pit. Despite the cool music and fittingly dread-inducing environments, the pit always feels like work. It's slow and cramped, with an awful lot of big fights for which I never feel well equipped. Again, where's the super shotgun, Sandy? This rocket launcher fight is awesome, and definitely caught the eye of the Casali brothers. Unfortunately, it's the only fight in the level where the carnage reaps satisfaction proportional to the effort you put into it. This brown hub area takes you to some miserable rooms. I'm thinking of the one with all the raising and lowering platforms with imps and shotgunners and lost souls teleporting in behind you. What a slog. And this other pointless room where you have to jump into poison and beat 2 pain elementals to death just to get an auto map, which reminds me, I shudder to think of how this level would play without the lost soul limit. There are way too many pain elementals on top of 33 pre-placed lost souls. Luckily, the first 7 or so pain elementals you see just float around and try to gum you to death if you make a point of leaving the rooms with lost souls till last. Guess nobody at id tested this level on ultraviolence. Grade D+, difficulty C. Map 10, Refueling Base. The first time you played this map on UV, it probably kicked your teeth in. Refueling Base is the highest enemy count in Doom 2, which can easily balloon if you leave the map's 7 pain elementals untended. Unlike in the last level, the meatballs are far from harmless here. There are several invisible tripwires that spring them from their poison holding tanks, which can easily surprise and overwhelm the player. The upside is that few Doom 2 levels offer you such a degree of freedom routing-wise. The level is interconnected, uncluttered, and bursting with secrets, including hidden passages that can be exploited to move around the level more covertly and turn the tide back in your favor. I absolutely love this room full of hit scanners. Kick in the door with a full belt of ammo and tell me this isn't fun. I appreciate all the power-ups, the light amplification visors are convenient, Berserk is a tremendous ammo saver, and the invincibilities make this exit-guarding Cyber Demon a non-issue. With the wrong approach, Refueling Base can be an absolute nightmare, but it's a veritable jungle gym for veterans. I never played this one the same way twice, and I think it has some of the best action in Doom 2. Grade A-, difficulty C+. Map 11, Circle of Death. The O of Destruction is John Romero's first contribution to Doom 2, and it feels like a breather after maps 9 and 10. In my unprofessional opinion, it looks like John's mind was on deathmatching when he designed Circle of Death. You've got a central hub with precarious footing, a few adjoining structures you could camp in, secret ammo caches, an out-of-the-way BFG, and a lot of sneakily hidden power-ups that only John would have known about early on. I will say, as a single-player map, the O of Destruction doesn't suck, but it is a pushover. Best exemplified by the introduction of the Archvile, which is so lame. I really don't think the guys that did knew his true potential. Either that or they were just nice people. Fun fact, if you're scared of Archviles, you can skip the blue key by taking the teleporter from this secret and jumping right onto the red key platform. Sequence breaking a Romero level gives me a perverse sense of accomplishment. Circle of Death is good, clean fun. The accompanying healer stalks once again makes it feel like I'm taking a break. Grade B, difficulty D. Map 12, The Factory. Out of respect for Sandy Petersen's better work in this WOD, I'll give The Factory a quick and painless death. Everything about this level is blunt and uncreative. Just slabs of textures, slabs of imps, and slabs of McGee. I don't know why the blue and yellow keys are at opposite ends of the same hallway, nor do I understand why there isn't a single thing that looks construably like a piece of industrial machinery in this level called The Factory. This imp ambush is BS, the caca room at the end is a snooze, and the entire level is dead, ugly, and empty. For including a super shotgun and this reference to E2M2, I'll give it a D- with a difficulty of D+. Map 13, Downtown. Into Sandy's City we go. People tend to be hard on Downtown for looking nothing like a city and for its, shall we say, heavy-handed design choices. But I think it was a good effort given the technical limitations Petersen had to work with, and the fact that he designed the first city map in Doom ought to count for something. That said, Downtown suffers from extreme linearity and forces you to backtrack repeatedly if you want to explore it fully. You'll be seeing a lot of these stairs, this lift, and this room with the Macubus. From here, you can go outside to grab a backpack, through a teleporter to an ammo cache, or through another teleporter to the blue door, but never all three in one trip. I've wasted too many minutes of my life waiting for this lift not to hate it. Oh, and this lift, which you have to stand right next to or it won't raise for reasons. So much fun. While I'm not completely against the concept of enemies sniping you from windows, some of these imps are so high up you can barely see them. They can't hit you, so why even bother putting them up there? Bottom line, I don't like Downtown, but I respect the intention behind it. Grade D, difficulty D+. Map 14, The Inmost Dens. Far and away American McGee's best work, The Inmost Dens is as sharp and concise as Doom 2 gets, and probably the most visually unified map in the whole set. I have to admit, I never actually got 100% kills here until last month when I finally found this non-secret Spectre and box of rockets, SMH. McGee's hit scanner placements feel downright modern, and this is one of the better usages of the arch file that you'll find in this megawad. Despite tagging 0 secrets, McGee hid some interesting goodies in the canals, like this Arachnotron guarded soul sphere, which are fun to find. In addition to Plutonium Map 18 being a direct homage to it, The Inmost Dens got sequels in Memento Mori and Hell Revealed 2, so it's safe to say this is one of the most fondly remembered and influential Doom 2 maps, and it's one of my favorites. Grade A-, difficulty D. Map 15, Industrial Zone. Industrial Zone is a secret fest courtesy of John Romero, whose effort at a city map is significantly more fun than Sandy Petersen's, if not any more visually appealing. I enjoy the beginning, where you're running and gunning down zombies like a madman. This room with a Baron, 2 Cacos, and 3 Pain Elementals is supremely diabolical. It still manages to zing me every once in a while, and that must count for something. The wooden fortress full of hit scanners at the end has to be the room with the highest secrets per square foot in Doom 2. Am I the only one who went literal years without finding this Arachnotron? Probably. The exit room is no fun at all, and I almost always skip it when I'm playing recreationally. The secret exit, which you activate by taking a leap of faith onto this platform, hitting a switch, and annoying some cacodemons, is always strangely satisfying to find. Grade B-, difficulty D+. Map 31, Mein Leben. No experience with Wolf 3D is required to enjoy this one. A Doom level in the style of id's first FPS, which means all walls intersect at 90-degree angles, no changes in elevation, and hit scanners galore. Well, except for the secret, which is top-notch. Grab the partial invisibility to make the Nazis aim like stormtroopers, and wait to deal with these pinkies, I mean German shepherds, till you get the Berserk. Wolfenstein is pure R&R. Grade B, difficulty D. Map 32, Gross. The most irreverent and self-referential map in all of commercial Doom, Gross is essentially one big room full of SS, one tiny room with a cyber demon, and an exit room with a bunch of suicidal Commander Keens. Though it's little more than an id Software in-joke, I think it's a pretty funny one, and those playing single segment will appreciate its wealth of supplies. Grade C, difficulty E. Map 16, Suburbs. Doom 2 needed a shock to the system, and that's exactly what Suburbs is. A wide-open battleground level with some of the most intense combat this WOD has to offer. Much like Map 10, which shares its music, Suburbs allows the player a lot of routing freedom, and severely punishes you if you don't tackle it with some kind of plan. The map's 2 archfiles are its biggest threat, probably the trickiest to deal with in Doom 2, so I like to grab the SSG, go for the invulnerability in the first one's lair, kill him, and then knock out the other one before the power-up expires. Most of the level's monsters come in droves, and since the action takes place outside, they'll be alerted to your presence from the start and hunt you constantly. Don't miss the BFG secret. There's just too much fun to be had with it in this level. Suburbs looks less like a suburb than Downtown looks like a city, but its cutting-edge combat compensates for that in spades. Grade A-, difficulty C+. Map 17, Tenements. Another laid-back Romero level, Tenements also gives me deathmatch vibes. It's another map designed around a central hub with damaging floors everywhere to keep players moving, and a secret BFG that Romero no doubt rampaged with back in the day. Tenements takes a while to complete, but there's hardly a challenging moment in it as long as you're quick to grab the red key, take care of hit scanners expediently, and don't blow yourself up trying to shoot the Arachnotron guarding the yellow key. Something about this level has always been intrinsically fun to me, not sure what it is. Tenements is generous with power-ups and ammo, fun to explore, and visually above average. My only major complaint is that Romero forgot he was making a Doom 2 level again. Really, John? Would it kill you to give me a super shotgun? Grade B, difficulty D. Map 18, the Courtyard. I'll tell you what, Doom 2's on a roll. This sandy Petersen gem opens with a huge fight that quickly goes sideways for the demons.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
It's probably the most enemies you'll see on screen at any given time in Doom 2, and it's a massive improvement on Doom 1's in-fight map, Fortress of Mystery. A lot of this level's optional, with something like 70 enemies hidden away in secrets or rooms you're not required to visit. This is something Doom 2 does a lot in its latter half, and it can get annoying, but the Courtyard's spookiness redeems what might have been a tedious cleanup job. The Courtyard is also notable for inspiring TNT Evolution's Map 28, and for housing 20% of all Doom 2's health files. Intense, creepy, and a nice change of pace, the Courtyard is a slam dunk. Grade B+, difficulty D+. Map 19, the Citadel. I wish I liked the Citadel, but every time I boot it up, I get a sinking feeling, because it's more scavenger hunt than Doom map. You only need 2 keys to exit, but if you duck out as soon as you get them, you'll probably be wondering, where was everybody? This map is one of Doom 2's worst practitioners of hiding monsters and secrets, and I don't find the Citadel nearly as charming as the Courtyard. There are so many weird design elements here, like how walls are sometimes doors, and doors sometimes open into walls. This teleport hub, which only gives you access to 2 rooms that are otherwise inaccessible. The rear of the fortress being overrun with about 25 specters, and there's a random hole in one of the hallways that drops you right into the middle of them. It serves no purpose except to punish players who don't know what they're doing. There's also this part where you find 1 secret and it gives you 2 more for free. This is another map I never got around to 100%ing until recently, which should give you an idea of how obscure and unpleasant it can be to get the full experience of this level. Grade C-, difficulty C-. Map 20, Gotcha. I don't know about this one. On one hand, Gotcha is distinctive and playful, I guess, but the gameplay is pretty boring, and the secrets are downright arcane. I know it's Romero's thing to encourage the player to jump into damaging liquids in search of secrets, but this map isn't like Knee Deep in the Dead. You have to start off by being psychic, leaping into this lake of lava to get a ring of rock to rise, jump down and get a rad suit, teleport out, drop down to this cove that literally only exists to hide 3 monsters, then shoot your way through this optional stone fort with elevators. And by the time you're done, your suit is expired. So far, your only reward has been a berserk and some ammo that you probably used on the hidden monsters, which begs the question of why does this have to be super lava? You'll get a BFG if you use the 1 other rad suit in the level to explore this big stone thing, but you'll hardly use it. The Cyber Demon and Spider Demon are supposed to kill each other, obviously, and the Archviles are no threat at all, so it's really only there to make encounters with pain elementals shorter. Gotcha is creative, but what's the point? Grade C-, difficulty C-. Map 21, Nirvana. Kicking off Doom 2's incredibly uneven final third is an abortion of a map called Nirvana, perhaps the most inexplicable entry in the entire Megawatt. While other maps may try and fail to fulfill an ambition, or make occasional blunders, Nirvana is just one continuous mistake, an aneurysm in Doom map form. The texturing is for the most part primitive and hideous, the opening room full of health kits is dumb, of course Countdown to Death is playing in the background, and this final area, my god, I don't know whether to laugh or chug bleach. Never mind the fact that the room has 0 lighting effects. Don't spend a brain cell pondering why these rocky platforms can be lowered like elevators, and don't bother with the blue key, because you can walk right between the blue walls supposedly guarding the exit. All apologies to Sandy Petersen. I'm sure he only had about 4 hours to finish this map, but that doesn't change the fact that this map will actively drain you and make you feel stupid and contagious. Grade F. Difficulty D. Map 22, the Catacombs. Without a doubt the most savage of American McGee's compact maps, the Catacombs plays like a dress rehearsal for the Plutonia experiment, with its entourage of chain gunners and revenants at the start, and visuals that seem to have inspired Plutonia's Map 26. Like most of McGee's work, the Catacombs won't take up a lot of your day, but new players will probably be restarting this one enough to draw out their playtime significantly. Grade B-, difficulty C+. Map 23, Barrels of Fun. With a title like that, you'd never guess this level would be a sadistic pile of shit. But Doom 2 is like a box of chocolates. Usually Sandy Petersen's levels are a lot more rewarding from pistol start, but this is an exception, all because of this opening room and its 6 pain elementals. See, 40 shells and 200 bullets is more than enough to kill just the pain elementals, but there's no way to stop them from filling the room with lost souls, turning the encounter into a flaming dumpster fire in a hurry. You can try hiding behind the burning barrels and concentrating your shots on the pain elementals, but there's minimal leeway health and ammo-wise, and you basically have to pray that the lost souls infight each other and everything else long enough for you to drop the pain elementals and survive the aftermath, which cinch. I got really lucky here. This wall is supposed to close and trap you in a tight corridor with a pack of pinkies, but I got saved by a Hell Knight's fat head. You know what would have been really useful here, Sandy? A super fucking shotgun. I think this is easily the hardest room in Doom 2. It's a chaotic disaster area, and I hate it, and would somebody please turn off Bye Bye American Pie? It's driving me nuts. Thank you. The rest of the level is a cinch. You can get the Arachnotrons and Spider Mastermind infight here, and you'll have a million rockets left over for the remaining demonic potpourri, but I just can't forgive that first room. Barrels of Fun is false advertising. All barrels, no fun. Grade F, difficulty B. That's gotta be the worst of Doom 2 over with, right? Right? Map 24, The Chasm. Well, turns out we have not seen the worst that Doom 2 has to offer, but we haven't gotten there yet, because The Chasm is a great map. You heard that right. Loathed by many, but remembered by all. The Chasm deserves a much better moniker than the one with the ledges. It's eerie, atmospheric, and spacious, with a fluid and open-ended layout that makes downtown look like hackwork. I love this secret hub area with the rad suits, megasphere, and chain gunners. It's an uncommonly fleshed out secret, and really satisfying to unlock, though I will admit it's another of Doom 2's flagrant examples of hiding too many monsters in optional areas. In my mind, The Chasm is Sandy Petersen's best-looking map, rivaling Romero and McGee's best work for sure. He demonstrates an uncharacteristic command of texture here, maintaining a green, brown, and gold theme throughout, and is especially inspired in his use of slime falls. I can't imagine a map like the Mucus Flow existing without The Chasm, both for aesthetic and gameplay reasons. For a Doom 2 map, The Chasm is pretty merciless, owing not so much to the penalty for falling in the toxic drink, as to your arsenal being spread out and well guarded, ammo a little tight, and the traps occasionally fiendish. The only time a fall will prove catastrophic is in this last room. During my recording, I captured perhaps the most embarrassing death anyone has ever suffered in the Chasm. Doom Collision's a bitch. Maybe it's because I have a soft spot for maps that get an undue amount of popular flack, but I genuinely like and enjoy playing the Chasm, and it's impossible for it not to stick in your head. Grade A, difficulty B-. Map 25, Blood Falls. If it weren't Sean Green's only contribution to Doom 2, I'd guess Blood Falls was somebody's throwaway map. It's dark, flimsy, and disproportionately easy for such a late entry in the Megawad. Grabbing this early Megasphere will allow you to blast through the opposition indiscriminately pretty much all the way to the end. SSG and Plasma, simple as that. It's fitting that Blood Falls is set to the most forgettable track in Doom 2. Adrian's asleep. Playing this level, so am I. Grade D, difficulty D-. Map 26, The Abandoned Mines. I'm trying not to dump on these maps too much because I really do enjoy a lot of Doom 2, but the Abandoned Mines feels so recycled and uninspired to me. This Soul Sphere secret is right out of knee deep in the dead. There isn't a single fight I can think of with any heft to it, and we've got yet another case of a map with a bunch of monsters in secret or optional areas, artificially inflating playtime without adding any fun or adventure to their proceedings. And this brown cave area? Sandy Petersen always gets criticized for his ugly maps, but Romero's not perfect either, people. I think this is the weakest and most forgettable map in his entire body of work. Grade D+, difficulty D. Map 27, Monster Condo. Right up there with Refueling Base, this used to be one of my most hated maps in Doom 2 for being obnoxiously dark and quite difficult. But the map is stacked with power-ups, and if you know what you're doing, you can defy the darkness with your light amp goggles and dominate the demons with 3 invulnerabilities. There are only 2 fights you won't be able to completely cheese in this map. These Deja Vu rooms with Mancubi and Revenants, and the Pain Elemental ambush by the exit, which is still nowhere near as bad as the one in Barrels of Fun. If you consciously decide not to play Monster Condo like the Haunted House level it wants to be, you'll have a really good time. Like this part where you take on a dozen Revenants at once while invincible, and then a party of Barons and Hell Knights. I'm not sure why I never thought to do this before, but why not make them infight? There's a secret in this map that closes for good 30 seconds after the level starts, but I don't see the point or appeal of a secret like that. Thankfully, it's not an idea that caught on. Monster Condo is alright. Grade B-, difficulty C+. Map 28, The Spirit World. Sandy Petersen lets his freak flag fly with this one. The Spirit World is a disjointed, experimental mishmash held together with duct tape and eldritch energy. The Spirit World features the only double mastermind encounter you'll see in commercial Doom, and the only Archvile duo in Doom 2. But fear not, because you'll also find 5 invulnerabilities, which you can ride for practically the entire level if you know your stuff. It's almost like id Software was scared of people finding their game too difficult. You'll notice that TNT Map 28 shamelessly ripped off this room. It's almost a copy-paste job. Some of the weirder elements, like the shootable sigil textures that open doors, the fake walls, and the egregious use of scrolling textures all remind me of the kind of noodling that you saw more of in the first Doom, which is kind of a good thing and kind of a bad thing. Grade C. Difficulty D+. Map 29, The Living End. This is my pick for Romero's most atmospheric and visually striking Doom 2 submission, though it gets some help from the triumphant reprise of its MIDI, Sean's Got the Shotgun. The Living End isn't the dramatic test of skill that's become par for the course in modern Doom mapping, but it definitely earned some admirers for its aesthetic stylings. The Casales in particular put 2 Living End lookalikes in the Plutonian experiment. This map has no tagged secrets, which is unusual for Romero, though I don't know what to call this plasma rifle if not a secret. You'll definitely need it for a pistol start. It greatly simplifies this lava corridor and the final fight against the Cyber Demon. With the plasma in hand, the hardest part of this fight is not walking into the exit by accident. Grade B. Difficulty C. Map 30, Icon of Sin. This is it. This is the worst Doom 2 has to offer. It's so bad that I won't even give it the dunce cap, because that would involve recognizing it as a Doom level, and I'm prepared to argue that it's not. Doom levels are environments filled with strategically placed monsters that the player is forced to negotiate by acquiring bigger and bigger guns, budgeting resources, and fending off surprises with the goal of surviving until they can safely exit, in our case, after the level is fully purged. Icon of Sin gives you every gun at the start of the level, is one room, and spawns random demons to make your job of shooting rockets into a hole in a wall harder. We've spent the entire game getting good at killing demons in all sorts of combinations, but Icon of Sin forces us to forget that and play a rhythm game, essentially. It wants to be this. And it's actually this.
Fuck out of here, boy. Get that weak shit out of here.
It feels like almost no effort was invested in making this epic final boss come to life, except a single custom sound clip that when reversed amounts to little more than a meme. I hate this map, and all of its progeny. It's a shame we have to end on a bum note, but Icon of Sin is the worst map in commercial Doom. Hands down. Grade F. Difficulty? Well, it all depends on how the random number generator is feeling that day. So, one of the reasons why classic Doom is so great is its levels can appeal to people for so many reasons. Doom 2's greatest strength is the variety of different ideas it tries out. The arena of Dead Simple, the combat puzzle of tricks and traps, the open world city levels, American McGee's speed maps, proto-adventure maps like Gotcha, the Courtyard, the Chasm, gimmicks like Wolfenstein, even joke wads like Gross with its Commander Keynes. These levels aren't perfect, but they're definitely iconic. Yes, even this one. And their influence is inestimable. My final grade for Doom 2 is a C. It holds up well for being older than I am, but it's thoroughly outclassed by the Doom community's best. Think of it as the official baseline against which all custom megawads are judged. Difficulty-wise, I'm giving it a D, so a full mark higher than Doom 93, but otherwise the most accessible wad you can play. Now for my Dean's List. Hold on to your seats, this could get controversial. Valedictorian, Map 24, The Chasm. Salutatorian, Map 16, Suburbs. Class President, Map 23, Barrels of Fun. And the dunce cap goes to Map 21, Nirvana. Thank you all very much for watching. I just want to quickly add, compared to the personal connection you have with these levels, these grades are irrelevant. What I hope more than anything is that this video helped reaffirm what Doom 2 means to you, and offered a perspective that you hopefully found entertaining and maybe a little informative. As always, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think, especially for this one, since it's been around forever, and I'm sure you guys are all bursting with thoughts of your own. Tell me all about your favorite and least favorite maps, and I'll heart your comments to let you know I've read them. This is Mount Pain 27, and I'll see you in the next episode of Dean of Doom.